In 2009, Batman Arkham Asylum took the gaming world by storm. Not only did it elevate superhero games to a whole new level, but it also set a new standard for narrative-driven action-adventure titles. Developed by Rocksteady Studios, a relatively unknown studio at the time, the game was a deep, immersive dive into the world of the Dark Knight. It captured the essence of Batman in ways no other game had before. Today, we'll be taking a deep dive into Arkham Asylum, exploring its development, the meticulous design, the groundbreaking gameplay, its reception, and a trove of Easter eggs that make this game a fan favourite. By the end of this review, you'll know exactly why this game is regarded as a classic, and how it laid the foundation for the critically acclaimed Arkham series.
Welcome to the madhouse, Batman! I set a trap, and you sprang it gloriously! Now let's get this party started.
Batman Arkham Asylum was officially announced in 2008, but its journey began a year earlier, when Eidos Interactive acquired the rights to develop a Batman game. Unlike most licensed games of that era, which were often rushed to coincide with film releases, Arkham Asylum was given time to breathe and develop organically. Eidos approached Rocksteady Studios, a small British developer that had only one game under its belt. It was a bold move, entrusting the Batman IP to such an untested studio, but Rocksteady's initial pitch and passion for the project won them the deal. Rocksteady began full production in September 2007, but the initial concept was already taking shape a few months earlier. The team, led by game director Sefton Hill, knew they wanted to make a Batman game that stood apart from the average superhero fare. To accomplish this, they leaned into a rich, narrative-driven approach and brought in acclaimed writer Paul Dini, known for his work on Batman the Animated Series, to help craft an original story.
The story is probably one of Batman's biggest challenges. While delivering the Joker back to Arkham, Batman finds himself in the middle of essentially a prison riot, which has been orchestrated by the Joker to specifically happen when Batman is returning him to the asylum. The whole thing is a massive setup, and it's Batman alone against an army of criminals, psychotics, and supervillains.
Begging to be slaughtered!
The idea to set the game within Arkham Asylum itself was born early in development. It allowed Rocksteady to create a confined, tension-filled environment that put Batman up against his most iconic enemies in an isolated setting, heightening the stakes. The closed nature of the asylum, combined with its gothic architecture, made it a perfect playground for Rocksteady's vision, a mixture of psychological thriller, detective story, and action-adventure.
These guys get it so much. This is just Batman's world.
Rocksteady taking on that challenge. It's half exciting and half terrifying. You know, the burden's out there that the world wants a great Batman game, and to be honest, we all want a great Batman game. So that's the inspiration as well for us, is that it just deserves, he's such a cultural icon, he deserves a game to match.
The development team faced challenges, particularly with combat. In early prototypes, the combat system was a rhythm action game, before it evolved into a 2D brawler where coloured circles would clash during fights. This system was later refined into the free-flow combat we know today, where timing and fluidity are key.
So we really wanted the player to feel that power.
Lots of people coming at you and you feeling like you're just batting them around.
So the skill in the game really comes from when you're taking on 8, 9, 10 enemies, one with a taser, one with a machine gun, one with a pipe he's ripped off the wall, and balancing that danger in the room.
The final combat system was inspired by Batman's nature, a master fighter capable of taking on multiple foes with seamless, precise movements. Every punch, counter, and dodge had to feel fluid, while also giving the player control over Batman's movements. Building Batman's world, however, required more than just combat mechanics. The team worked tirelessly on Batman's gadgets and their uses, ensuring that everything from the Batarang to the Batclaw had practical applications in both combat and exploration. To match Batman's technological prowess, the game introduced Detective Vision, a visual mode that enhanced Batman's investigative abilities, allowing players to scan environments, track enemies and solve puzzles.
Detective mode Cal. He can look around the environment and you can see the skeletons of the different characters in the environment. He can study those characters, see their heart rate, see their behaviour.
Perhaps the most challenging task for Rocksteady was getting the tone just right. The game had to be dark, psychological and true to the Batman mythos without leaning too far into the superhero cliches of the era. The team drew inspiration from Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, and incorporated elements from the broader Batman universe, while crafting a wholly original experience.
One of the great things that Rocksteady brings to it is it's a very English company, so there is a very English sensibility to the design and to the look of Arkham and to Gotham, which is very appropriate.
The game was built using the Unreal Engine 3, and the developers spent 2 years fine-tuning every aspect of Batman's appearance. Over 700 animations were used to make Batman's cape move realistically, and detail that Rocksteady felt was crucial in making the player truly feel like the Dark Knight. Even the damage to Batman's suit, which becomes more worn and torn as the game progresses, was an intentional design choice to reflect the physical toll the story was taking on the character. Rocksteady also wanted to fill the asylum with life, or rather, with its opposite. The villains Batman encounters aren't just enemies, they're deeply connected to the game's narrative, with their personalities rooted in Batman lore. Characters like the Joker, Scarecrow and Poisonous Ivy were all integral to the plot, and each provided unique gameplay challenges that mirrored their abilities in the comics. From its early days of development, Rocksteady's design ethos for Arkham Asylum was rooted in capturing the perfect blend of comic book fantasy and gritty realism. The team wanted players to feel like they were stepping into Gotham City's darkest corners, with Arkham Asylum serving as the ultimate house of horrors. Every design decision, from the architecture of the asylum to the characters' appearances, was made to enhance that atmosphere. The asylum itself, set on an isolated island off the coast of Gotham, was meticulously designed to be both sprawling and claustrophobic. The design team drew inspiration from several architectural styles, Gothic, Victorian and industrial, to create an environment that felt like it had a long, sinister history. The medical facility, with its eerie Victorian-style metalwork, was designed to evoke feelings of horror, while the intensive treatment unit had a brutal industrial look. Each part of the asylum was crafted with a distinct style, giving players the sense that the asylum was a living, breathing character in its own right. Batman's design was heavily influenced by the work of comic artist Jim Lee, who drew Batman as a muscular, athletic figure. His suit, a mix of black and dark grey with a military and industrial influence, was designed to look functional while also evoking the iconic comic book appearance. The team went through 13 concept designs before landing on Batman's final look, balancing comic book style with realism. The Joker's design, however, posed a unique challenge. Rocksteady avoided the film versions of the character, instead drawing inspiration from Alan Moore's The Killing Joke and other classic Joker portrayals. Mark Hamill's Joker was more menacing and deranged than any previous version, combining dark humour and outright insanity.
I don't want to escape. I'm having way too much fun.
Harley Quinn, meanwhile, underwent a dramatic redesign. Her traditional jester outfit was replaced with a nurse-themed costume to fit the asylum setting, marking a bold new look for the character.
Hey, scram, bats! This is my me time.
Each area of the asylum tells its own story through design. The maximum security wing, for example, feels claustrophobic and oppressive, while the underground catacombs are dark and suffocating, with early 20th century brickwork enhancing the sense of dread. The game world features 40 rooms, 34 corridors and 3 distinct Scarecrow-induced nightmare areas, each carefully crafted to keep players engaged and immersed in the asylum's twisted world. In terms of colours, Rocksteady faced a challenge. They wanted to invoke the gritty, moody atmosphere of Gotham, but without relying on drab, monochromatic environments. The solution was to use saturated lighting effects that would bring a comic book vibrancy to the game while maintaining the dark tone. This approach kept the game visually dynamic, especially when paired with the use of shadows and lighting to guide players through environments.
We wanted to create a game that was in a dark, gritty environment. Arkham Asylum really lends itself to that.
And Arkham Asylum as well is such a critical location in the history of the Batman universe. It's such a kind of central heartbeat where everything passes through.
Gotham is a unique city, and it's populated by unique supervillains. And you just can't send these guys to a regular jail. You need something that's got a location that matches their twisted nature. So Arkham Asylum was created as this hospital for the criminally insane, and only the worst and the craziest of the criminals were sent there.
To bring these designs to life, the level designers created layouts based on simple shapes, while concept artists fleshed out the look and feel of each area. The 3D environment artists then translated these designs into the game's world, ensuring that every nook and cranny of the asylum felt authentic. Cutscenes, meanwhile, were storyboarded and visualized within the game's engine before character performance were captured through motion capture.
We brought in some martial art experts. They were fully trained in all different techniques, and they showed us what they can do. We motion captured them because of our motion capture studio in-house.
The stuff that we're doing is translating very well to the characters.
One unique design element was how the asylum itself evolved throughout the game. As Batman progresses through the story, the world around him begins to reflect his journey. Batman's suit becomes visibly damaged, the Joker plans wreak havoc on the environment, and the key areas of the asylum change in response to Batman's actions. This attention to detail creates a sense of narrative continuity, making the world feel alive and reactive to the player's progress. Rocksteady and Eidos knew they had something special on their hands with Arkham Asylum, and the marketing campaign reflected that confidence.
Batman Arkham Asylum, coming soon on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and games for Windows.
One of the major strategies was the release of a playable demo, which became available on August 6, 2009 for PlayStation 3 and the following day for Xbox 360 and Microsoft Windows. The demo featured key elements of the game, including its free-flow combat system and stealth mechanics, giving the players a small taste of what the full game would offer. For PlayStation 3 owners, the game included a special piece of content in the form of a Batcave-themed virtual apartment in the PlayStation Home, a social gaming platform that allowed players to explore virtual spaces. This exclusive content helped drive pre-orders for the PlayStation version of the game. Additionally, North American retailer GameStop ran a contest where one lucky fan would be rendered in the game as an Arkham inmate. This contest added an interactive, personal element to the promotion, giving fans a chance to literally become a part of the Batman universe. Warner Bros. Also capitalized on the game's popularity by releasing a series of action figures based on the character designs from Arkham Asylum. These figures sold through DC Direct and included representations of Batman, Joker, and Harley Quinn, and were targeted at collectors and fans of the game. The cast of characters in Arkham Asylum was brought to life by an ensemble of voice actors, many of whom were veterans of Batman the Animated Series. Kevin Conroy reprised his role as Batman, bringing a grounded yet emotional resonant performance to the character.
Few days of just me, and that's, 6 to 8 hours a day. In a half an hour show, it's a 2-hour booking session with 8 actors. Just today, we were in here for hours doing only my lines. That's much more than you'd ever do in a half an hour animated show, because there's never only one character. So there's a lot more work involved in these, but it's worth it.
Mark Hamill's Joker stole the show with his blend of deranged menace and dark humour.
What took you so long?
There is no Batman in my mind other than Kevin Conroy, and Mark is the perfect Joker.
It's so much more exciting if you can see him in the recording studio because he almost devours the microphone. He becomes so animated as the Joker that he kind of takes over the recording studio. It's really wonderful to be a part of.
Arlene Sorkin returned as Harley Quinn, bringing the character's manic energy to life.
Yippee, man. Harley Quinn here. How do you like my new uniform? Pretty hot, huh? Oh, I got something to show you. 1 second, B-Man.
The game also introduced a roster of Batman's most iconic villains, including Bane, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, and Scarecrow. Each villain was uniquely designed to challenge Batman's skills, with Bane presenting a physical threat, Scarecrow testing Batman's psychological limits, and Poison Ivy unleashing mutant plants that overrun the island. Smaller characters like Victor Zsasz and Aaron Cash added depth to the world, while cameos from Clayface, Ra's al Ghul and Scarface gave fans plenty of Easter eggs to discover. Even characters like the Riddler, who never physically appear, were integrated into the gameplay through the riddles and challenges that stretched across the entire asylum.
Hear me, Batman? I know you can. Yes, it is I, Edward Nygma, the Riddler, and more importantly, your intellectual superior. My genius has allowed me to easily hack into your primitive communications. My goal is simple. You complete a series of amusingly taxing challenges and, well, you'll see. Ready for your first one? Good. But be careful. Don't cut yourself on this sharply observed portrait.
The attention to detail in the character designs were remarkable. As already stated, Batman's suit becomes visibly damaged as the game progresses, which is a reflection of the toll the night has taken on him. Joker's increasingly erratic behaviour mirrored his descent into madness, and Scarecrow's fear toxin-induced hallucinations gave players a glimpse into Batman's deepest fears. Batman Arkham Asylum offers a deep and satisfying gameplay experience, blending action, exploration and puzzle solving into a seamless whole. The game is viewed from a third-person perspective, with the player controlling Batman as he moves through Arkham's many environments. The initial areas of the game are linear, providing players with a tutorial on Batman's basic moves and mechanics. Once the player reaches the open sections of Arkham Island, the world becomes more expansive, though certain areas remain locked until Batman acquires the necessary gadgets to access them. The free-flow combat system is one of the game's standout features. Designed to make players feel like Batman, the system allows for fluid, dynamic combat with only a few buttons required for attacking, countering and stunning enemies. However, the depth of the system lies in its timing and combo mechanics. As Batman chains attacks together, his movement becomes faster and more precise, and players are rewarded with experience points that unlock new abilities, gadgets and health upgrades. The more skilled the player, the more devastating Batman's attacks become.
When you pick up the pad, Batman, if he's taking 4, 5, 6 henchmen on, he doesn't have a lot of trouble. I mean, he's a highly trained martial artist. He can take these guys out with no problems. So we really wanted the player to feel that power.
The free flow system is about seamlessly chaining together moves from Batman's repertoire. When you chain together 3 or more moves in quick succession, you enter free flow and can attack over a much larger distance and with much more power.
Oh, hell, what do I...
As long as you choose a successful move, you can continue to chain moves together in an unlimited combo. But if you miss or get hit, you lose your combo instantly. So to be successful, you need to be constantly assessing which move you're going to do and on which thug, and then get the timing of the move right.
Enemies grow in complexity as the game progresses, forcing players to adapt their strategies. Some enemies wield knives, requiring a stun before they can be attacked, Others are equipped with firearms, making them a serious threat to Batman's health.
So the skill in the game really comes from when you're taking on 8, 9, 10 enemies, one with a taser, one with a machine gun, one with a pipe he's ripped off the wall, and balancing that danger in the room.
The AI reacts dynamically to Batman's actions. If you silently eliminate one thug, the remaining enemies grow more paranoid, changing their patrol patterns and making them harder to predict. The dynamic fear system adds a level of psychological warfare to the stealth mechanic, making the players seem like they truly are outwitting their foes.
You really want to achieve a feeling that you're creating fear in the enemies, that you're really having an emotional impact on them, that they're reacting to the fact that they can't see you and you're Batman, and you really are picking them off and kind of playing with them.
Batman's gadgets are another critical part of the gameplay. From the iconic Batarang to the explosive gel and Batclaw, each tool has multiple uses in both combat and puzzle solving. The Line Launcher, for example, allows Batman to traverse large gaps in the environment, while the Cryptographic Sequencer lets him hack into security systems to unlock doors or disable traps. Detective Vision adds an investigative layer to the game, turning the environment blue and highlighting points of interest like destructible walls, enemies and clues. It's not just a tool for combat, Detective Vision is crucial for solving puzzles, tracking down hidden items and navigating the complex layout of Arkham Island.
We really wanted gadgets that represented not only Batman's navigational skills, but also gadgets that allowed Batman to interact in new ways with the enemies in combat and also in Predator as he's moving around.
Outside the main story, Arkham Asylum offers plenty of side content in the form of collectibles and Riddler challenges. Scattered across the asylum are 240 Riddler trophies, cryptic riddles, interview tapes with inmates, and messages left by Amadeus Arkham, the asylum's founder. Solving these puzzles unlocks bonus content, including character biographies and in-game statues. These collectibles not only add replay value, but also flesh out the history and lore of Arkham Asylum itself. Batman Arkham Asylum features a narrative that expertly weaves together psychological tension, high-stakes action, and rich character interactions, making it one of the most compelling superhero stories of its time. The plot, crafted by Paul Dini, takes Batman to the heart of Gotham's most dangerous prison for the criminally insane, Arkham Asylum, and showcases a night of chaos that forces Batman to face his greatest foes in an isolated and claustrophobic setting. As Batman navigates through the labyrinth-style asylum, he encounters a roster of his most formidable enemies, each posing unique challenges. Bane is unleashed in his Titan-enhanced form, Poison Ivy spreads her monstrous plants across the island, and Scarecrow's fear toxin forces Batman into hallucinatory episodes where reality itself seems to warp. Batman Arkham Asylum delves into themes that are deeply embedded into the Batman mythos: the fine line between sanity and madness, the complexities of heroism, and the psychological toll of facing one's greatest fears. The asylum itself serves as a metaphor for the fragility of order and the lurking chaos that Batman constantly battles to contain. The entire story is built around the juxtaposition of Batman's disciplined, methodical approach and the Joker's chaotic, unpredictable nature. Arkham Asylum is more than a setting, it's a character that embodies madness, with its crooked hallways, dim lighting, and eerie architecture amplifying the sense of psychological instability. Through the Scarecrow sequences, the game blurs the lines between reality and hallucination, highlighting Batman's vulnerability to fear and doubt. The story also explores the theme of duality, particularly through Batman and the Joker. While Batman represents control and justice, the Joker embodies anarchy and nihilism. Their relationship is symbiotic, each defines the other's existence. This theme is emphasised in Joker's taunts, where he questions Batman's motivations and hints that they are not so different after all. Another significant theme in the game is the nature of heroism. Batman is depicted as a lone warrior who must confront not just physical threats, but psychological warfare as well. The isolation forced upon him within Arkham's walls reflects his singular responsibility. This solitude reinforces Batman's resilience, but also underscores the toll it takes on him. He must navigate traps, face overwhelming odds, and confront his fears while maintaining his no-kill policy, which remains an unbreakable moral line despite the chaos around him. The plot of Arkham Asylum is lauded for its tightly woven narrative that keeps players engaged from start to finish. Paul Dini's writing ensures that every encounter with a villain feels earned and integral to the story. The pacing is excellent, balancing moments of high tension with periods of exploration and detective work. The story also excels in incorporating psychological depth, particularly through Scarecrow's hallucination sequences that push players to question reality itself. These moments are not just visual spectacles, but are emblematic of Batman's internal struggles. The interactions between Batman and Joker stand out as some of the most memorable aspects of the game. Mark Hamill's voice acting as the Joker brings an electrifying mix of menace and dark humour, while Kevin Conroy's stoic portrayal of Batman grounds the character's determination and moral fortitude.
Deliver is because they've kind of done it before. They always have their own vision for it, which kind of lends itself very well to what we're doing coming from the comic and graphic novel side.
What took you so long?
These performances lend an authenticity and emotional weight to the story, elevating it beyond typical superhero fare. Despite its strengths, the plot of Arkham Asylum is not without its critiques. One common criticism is the lack of depth given to certain villains. While the Joker, Scarecrow and Poison Ivy are fleshed out and integral to the story, others like Bane and Killer Croc feel underutilized. Bane's appearance, while impactful, is brief and serves more as a boss fight than any fully developed subplot. Similar to this, Killer Croc's encounter, although atmospheric, does not add significant narrative weight. The final battle with the Titan-enhanced Joker is another divisive point. While it serves as a dramatic climax, some players found the fight to be somewhat formulaic and less innovative compared to the rest of the game's standout encounters. The spectacle of the moment is undeniable, but it's arguably less satisfying than the more psychological nuanced battles, such as the Scarecrow sequences. Overall, the plot of Batman Arkham Asylum remains one of its greatest strengths, setting a benchmark for narrative design in superhero games. The themes of sanity, heroism and sacrifice resonate throughout, offering players more than just a series of battles, but a story that explores what it truly means to be the Dark Knight. While there are some missed opportunities for deeper exploration of certain villains, and a finale that leans more on spectacle than substance, the narrative as a whole is a masterclass in storytelling. The game's ability to blend psychological drama, action, and character-driven storytelling has secured its place as a seminal work in both the Batman franchise and video game history. One of the most exciting aspects of Arkham Asylum for Batman fans is the sheer number of Easter eggs scattered throughout the game. These hidden details reward longtime fans of the comics, films and animated series, while also foreshadowing events in future games. Some of the standout Easter eggs include Ra's al Ghul's disappearing body. After discovering Ra's al Ghul's body in the morgue, players can return to find it has mysteriously vanished, referencing his regenerative powers. The Warden's secret room. By using explosive gel in the Warden's office, players can access a hidden room that contains blueprints for Arkham City, teasing the sequel. One of the most significant Easter egg comes after the credits. Depending on the playthrough, players can see one of 3 alternative endings, with either Bane, Killer Croc or Scarecrow's hand emerging from the water, foreshadowing their continued presence in Gotham. These Easter eggs not only provide fun nods to comic book fans, but also show Rocksteady's deep respect for Batman's history and set up events of the future games in the series. Upon its release, Batman Arkham Asylum was met with widespread critical acclaim. The game received a 91 out of 100 on Metacritic for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions, and 92 out of 100 for the PC version. It even earned the Guinness World Record for most critically acclaimed superhero game ever, a title it held until it was surpassed by its own sequel, Batman Arkham City. Critics praised the game for revolutionising the superhero genre in gaming. Edge magazine declared it the best superhero game of modern times, while IGN's Greg Miller called it the greatest comic book game of all time. Eurogamer noted that even with its Batman skin, the game would still stand out as a polished and engrossing experience due to its compelling story, excellent visuals and top-tier voice acting. The game's combat system in particular was a highlight for reviewers. Its accessibility and fluidity allow players to feel like Batman without requiring complex button inputs. The stealth mechanics also received praise for their variety and strategic depth, with some reviewers calling it a thinking man's stealth game. However, not everything about Arkham Asylum is perfect. Some reviewers criticised the boss battles, calling them repetitive and formulaic. The final boss fight with the Titan-enhanced Joker was seen as underwhelming compared to the build-up leading to it. But despite these minor criticisms, Arkham Asylum was universally hailed as a triumph in game design. Mark Hamill's performance as the Joker received particular praise, with many calling it one of the best portrayals of the character in any medium. Hamill's ability to balance dark humour with terrifying menace made the Joker one of the most memorable parts of the game. Batman Arkham Asylum was not just a critical success, it was a commercial powerhouse as well. Within 3 weeks of its release, the game had sold nearly 2 million units worldwide. By October 2011, it had sold over 4.3 million copies. Despite Xbox 360 generally outperforming the PlayStation 3 in multi-platform titles at the time, the PS3 version of Arkham Asylum outside the Xbox version by approximately 10,000 units. This success was attributed to the PlayStation 3's exclusive content, which allowed players to control Joker in special challenge maps. The game also won numerous awards, including Best Game at the British Academy Video Game Awards, Best Game Design at the Game Developer Choice Awards, and Studio of the Year for Rocksteady at the Spike Video Game Awards. It was also nominated for Game of the Year across several award shows and featured prominently on many Best of 2009 lists. In many ways, Batman Arkham Asylum did for superhero games what The Dark Knight did for superhero films. It proved that these stories could be dark, complex, and artistically significant. Rocksteady Studios didn't just make a great Batman game, they redefined the genre by delivering an experience that was as much about atmosphere, story, and character as it was about gameplay. Its blend of satisfying combat, cerebral detective work, and carefully crafted world design created an unforgettable experience that has influenced countless games since. Batman Arkham Asylum wasn't just a game, it was a revolution in how superhero stories could be told in the medium of video games. It redefined the superhero genre, introducing groundbreaking mechanics, a compelling narrative, and a richly detailed world that respected the Batman mythos. Its impact on gaming is still felt today, with many titles attempting to emulate its blend of fluid combat, stealth, and narrative depth. By embracing what makes Batman unique, his intelligence, his gadgets, and his combat prowess, Rocksteady crafted an experience that allowed players to truly be the Dark Knight. The game's success paved the way for the Arkham series, but Arkham Asylum remains a masterpiece in its own right. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Batman Arkham Asylum. Let me know what your favourite part of the game was in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews on the best games ever made.